Ladies and gentlemen, Jack Lemmon.
One night, 1958, I was having dinner in some little joint, and a Viennese pixie with an accent that I've never been able to imitate, but I'll try. He walked over to the table, he sat down, and he says, well, we got these two musicians, and they witnessed the St. Valentine's Day Massacre with the and they see the killers, but the killers see them. So they masquerade in women's clothes, and they join an all-girl orchestra. Which means if you want to play this part, you're going to be in drag for 90% of the film. You want to do it? And thank God I said yes. And the reason, obviously, is because that little pixie was a genius named Billy Wilder. The picture, of course, was Some Like It Hot, and that was the beginning of a 7-picture, 32-year association with this incredibly talented, mercurial, extraordinary man, and I cherish every moment of it. George Bernard Shaw, he was one of the other geniuses. He said, if you want to tell people the truth, then you better make them laugh, or they'll kill you. Well, Billy Wilder has been telling us the truth over and over. He's sitting up there tonight, hale and hearty, very healthy, cranky as ever. I remember one wonderful day, I was having lunch while we were shooting The Apartment on the Goldwyn lot in Hollywood. And except for Billy and me, there was a bunch of executives sitting there at the table, and they were discussing another film. It had nothing to do with Billy or me. And they were trying to think of directors to shoot this film. And one of them suddenly mentioned the name of a truly remarkable director who had made some classic films. But his last 2 films, they'd been bombs. They hadn't worked. They lit into him like a bunch of piranhas that hadn't eaten for a month. I mean, he stinks, he's had it, he's no good, he lost it. And Billy, during all of this, did not say a word. He's very uncharacteristic. Until one of them said, Billy, what do you think of this guy? He very gently said, oh, that's very simple. You are as good as the best thing you've ever done. Well, if that is true, and I think it is, then Billy Wilder is as good as some of the greatest films that this world has ever seen.
I was thinking about that girl of Artie's, that Miss Schaefer. She was so like all us writers when we first hit Hollywood. Itching with ambition, panning to get your names up there. Screenplay by, original story by. Audiences don't know somebody sits down and writes a picture. They think the actors make it up as they go along.
Pick the script, please, yes, and stand on the other side of Matthau, because so he knows the lines, and for God's sake, stop him from improvising.
He was born 100 miles east of Vienna. His mother, in love with all things American, gave him the nickname Billy. Shooting pool with guests at his father's hotel taught him more about human nature than any school. In 1926, he left college for Berlin for jazz and part-time work as a journalist. He earned extra money by dancing and romancing lonely matrons at afternoon teas. Then he sold exposés on the racket to his newspaper. It was an inconvenient time to be Jewish in Germany, he said. He packed his screenplays and set off for Hollywood. Talent in Hollywood was a dime a dozen, but a couple of good ideas got him a contract, a cubicle, and a writing partner who spoke better English. First, Wilder and Brackett were dubbed the Smart Aleck and the Gent. Then, the team God joined together. They stitched their comedies with biting wit. After 9 films, it hit him. The writer is the last to hear about the changes. To protect my scripts, he said, I had to convince the studios to let me direct them. And what picture is worth making if it doesn't poke around a little with fire?
Mr. Neff, why don't you drop by tomorrow evening around 8:30? He'll be in then.
Who?
My husband. You were anxious to talk to him, weren't you?
Yeah, I was, but I'm sort of getting over the idea, if you know what I mean.
There's a speed limit in this state, Mr. Neff. 45 miles an hour.
How fast was I going, officer?
I'd say around 90.
Suppose you get down off your motorcycle and give me a ticket.
Suppose I let you off with a warning this time.
Suppose it doesn't take.
Suppose I have to whack you over the knuckles.
Suppose I bust out crying and put my head on your shoulder.
Suppose you try putting it on my husband's shoulder.
That tears it.
He honed his characters knife sharp and pushed them to the edge.
I can't go on with the scene. I'm too happy. Mr. DeMille, do you mind if I say a few words? Thank you. I just want to tell you all how happy I am to be back in the studio, making a picture again. You don't know how much I've missed all of you. And I promise you I'll never desert you again. Because after Salome, we'll make another picture and another picture. You see, this is my life. It always will be. There's nothing else. Just us. And the cameras. And those wonderful people out there in the dark. All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Olé!
Hi, Jerry. Everything under control?
Have I got things to tell you?
What happened?
I'm engaged.
Congratulations. Who's the lucky girl?
I am.
What?
Osgood proposed to me. We're planning a June wedding.
What are you talking about? You can't marry Osgood.
You think he's too old for me?
Jerry, you can't be serious.
Why not? He keeps marrying girls all the time.
But you're not a girl, you're a guy. And why would a guy want to marry a guy?
Security.
Are you all right?
I'm fine.
Are you sure? How's your knee?
I'm fine all over.
Mind if I come in?
Of course not. Let me get another glass.
Where are you going?
Well, who knows? Another neighborhood, another town, another job. I'm on my own.
That's funny. So am I. What'd you do with the cards?
In there. What about Mr. Sheldrake?
We send him a fruitcake every Christmas. Cut.
I love you, Miss Kubelik.
3. Queen.
Did you hear what I said, Miss Kubelik? I absolutely adore you.
Shut up and deal.
Want to buy some illusions, slightly used, second hand.
Making pictures, he says, is a bit like walking into a dark room. Some people stumble, others break a leg. But some of us see better in the dark.
They had a touch of paradise, a spell you can't explain. For in this crazy paradise, you are in love to buy some illusions, lightly used, just like new. Such romantic illusions, and they're all about you. I sell them all for a penny. They make pretty souvenirs. Take my lovely illusions, some for life, some for tears.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Walter Matthau.
I was sitting on the dais with Billy Wilder at some fundraiser dinner, and Wilder said to me, he said, "Why aren't you eating?" I said, "Well, I don't like to eat. I'm too nervous. I have to speak. I want to have a clear head. I want to have a clear stomach. I want to have a sharp, loose tongue. I want to be ready. Food gets in the way." I went up, I made my speech, I sat down. Wilder looked at me and he said, "My boy, you could have eaten." Billy Wilder is responsible for any success that I may have had in the movies. He's a master at meticulous preparation. He's a master at directing. He's a master at writing. You'd think anybody who wrote The Apartment, The Lost Weekend, Sunset Boulevard, my favorite, Ninotchka. My favorite exchange from Ninotchka, to digress for half a second, is when Greta Garbo gets off the train from Moscow to Paris, and the porter picks up her bags. She says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm carrying your bags." She says, "That's social injustice." He says, "It depends on the tip." The reason Billy Wilder became a director was due to Charles Boyer. He wrote a film for Boyer, and the thrust of the film was Boyer alone in a hotel room talking to a cockroach, sort of commiserating with the cockroach. And Wilder bumped into Boyer the day he was supposed to shoot the scene. He asked him how it went. Boyer said, "Well, it was wonderful." He says, "But you see, I took out the dialogue with the cockroach because I felt uncomfortable doing that, and I rewrote the scene." Billy ran back to his bungalow, started typing. Charlie Brackett, his co-writer, came in and asked him what he was doing. He said, "I'm taking out all of Boyer's dialogue. He don't talk to a cockroach, he don't talk to nobody." To illustrate one more obstacle the film writer has to overcome, here are the Messrs. James Naughton, Greg Edelman, and Sean Elliott in a scene from this year's Tony winner as Broadway's best musical, City of Angels. Stein, a Hollywood writer, is hard at work on a screenplay, the hero of which is his creation, a private eye named Stone. In the screenplay, Stone is about to be busted by Police Lieutenant Manny Munoz. Stein, the writer, whose job it is to surprise an audience, is about to be surprised by the character he created.
You're under arrest for the murder of Dr. Sebastian Mandrill.
This is a frame. You have to believe me, Manny.
Don't Manny me ever. The more you've got, the more there is to throw away, amigo, and you had it all. Respect, the badge, and the right color skin. Niks, Radok, Verut, Zebut, Kepser. Oh, Dirahunya. You had it all. Respect, the badge. Bobby, the only girl I ever loved.
Huh?
One look at you, and she could never see me again.
Are you really gonna do this?
One look, and the only dream I ever had came crashing down.
That's garbage. You've taken out the racial angle and you put in hearts and flowers. You're not writing a script, you're selling tickets. You're caving into the studio. Oh, go on, write whatever you want. Just keep me out of this.
Keep you out of this? Is that what you said? Keep you out of this? You? You are some gumshoe, you just don't think. Well, get this dumb gumshoe, you come from my inkwell. Is your mouth lonely with 1 foot in there? Stone, your brain only holds thoughts I put in there. Just what you are, I'll spell out. You are a novel pain, one speck of lint that fell out the last time that I picked my brain.
You are so jealous of my track record. Tolstoy, do tell us your feeble hack record. Your weak knees brand you, soft and unstable. One small threat and you fold like a card table. You drool at my adventures. Your broads in bed are bored. Go home and soak your dentures. Your pen is no match for my sword.
You're nothing without me. I know one who'd go undefined. You wouldn't exist. You'd never be missed. I tell you, you're out of my mind. A show off, a blowhard. You're equal parts hot air and gold. And no one would doubt me without me. You're nothing at all. You're in my plot. I'm still your creator. I call each shot. I'm your private dictator.
You are so thick you eat, breathe, sleep fiction. I'm your meal ticket, knee deep in cheap fiction.
You gloating ignoramus. You haven't any shame.
Hey, I'm a famous Seamus, and most people don't know your name.
You're nothing without me. Without me, you just disappear. Right into thin air, and no one would care or notice you ever were here. A puppet, an upstart, a loser who's destined to fall. I'm everything you always wanted to be. Let's deal with the issue. You wish you were me. You're nothing without me. Without me, you're nothing.
Let's go.
Manny, wait.
I said keep my name out of your mouth.
Oh. You bastard!
Fade out. You're nothing without me. Without